Well, joining us now is former senior advisor to Donald Trump, Christian Whiton. Christian, great to see you again. Well, Donald Trump and the debate coming up this week. So what are you expecting from the debate with Joe Biden? Will Joe Biden manage to find his way to the podium? Or will he be wandering around at the wrong podium or looking for the door out the back or whatever? What are you expecting, Christian?
Well, certainly if the G7 was any indication, he will be wandering off and staring blankly into the distance. But there's a little bit of a problem. That's, with debates, it's not just performance, it's expectations. Think this is ancient history now. But going back, Dan Quayle, the vice president in 1988, failed badly in his debate. 92 comes along, everyone expects him to do poorly. I think he actually beat Al Gore, but because the expectation game, it actually came out as a wash. Today, everyone is expecting Joe Biden to do so poorly based on his recent performances. All he has to do is sort of get through it without a massive embarrassment and just the usual sort of small number of gaffes, sort of like the State of the Union. And people might say he's going to do well. The big problem is that I'm not sure debates have the impact that they used to, especially when, in this case, there is no newcomer. We have 4 years of Biden and can compare that to 4 years of Trump. And voters can render their judgment based on that.
Rita.
Well, the polling is very interesting indeed. Polling in recent days shows Trump is ahead in every swing state. And there's also been some analysis on the swing states that are the most ethnically diverse are the ones more likely to favour Trump. So tell me about that coalition he's building of Hispanic voters, trying to attract black voters who've always been such supporters of the Democrats in recent decades.
Right, and Trump even giving or visiting Detroit, a majority black city, a city that's been majority black for about a century, and also doing things like holding rallies in the Bronx. These are not traditional places that Republicans go. In fact, New York City and its 5 boroughs, very Democratic. The Bronx is the most Democratic and still drawing a big crowd. I would still be pretty surprised if New York City or New York State goes for Trump, but he is making big inroads. And if you look at the board, the Democrats have to win almost all of the swing states, including the 2 heavyweights, which are Michigan and Pennsylvania. If Republicans win either Michigan or Pennsylvania, then the night's over. Donald Trump will be the next president. And if you look, Trump it's close in Michigan and it's close in Pennsylvania, but he's farther ahead in other swing states, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, which has been trending Democrat in recent elections, is looking good for him. Ohio used to be a swing state. It's not anymore. Florida used to be a swing state. He's ahead comfortably there. So a lot can happen and a lot can be wrong with polls. Polls tend to become a little less accurate now that we're into summer after Memorial Day, which is the traditional start of the summer in America. But things are looking fairly decent right now.
James.
Christian, talk to us about what the world might look like if Trump is successful. I mean, it's on fire during the Biden administration, but Trump says he'll fix Ukraine, he'll do something different in the Middle East. What will the world look like foreign policy-wise if he gets up?
Right, and he has the benefit of being a challenger where you don't actually have to go into intricate detail. But the public doesn't expect that. America is a fairly insular country. Foreign policy can get you in trouble as a presidential candidate, but seldom does it win you votes. But having said that, again, we have 4 years of experience with Trump. Trump gave, I think, the benefit of the doubt to China. You may recall in his first year in office, he had a summit at Mar-a-Lago. There were 4 pillars. No one remembers what they are. He gave a mini trade deal to China, but then China inflicted the coronavirus on the world and has not accounted for that or come clean about its origins. So I think you'd see a second Trump term without as much chaos and without as much groping for what America First policy really means. Robert O'Brien, who was the final national security of the 4 that Trump had, I would say he was the only good one, wrote something recently in Foreign Affairs, an establishment magazine here, but saying basically it would be a return to Ronald Reagan style peace through strength, meaning we don't go abroad looking to do nation building. We're trying to pull back on the counterinsurgency operations in Middle Eastern backwaters no one has heard about. And Trump does want to negotiate with Russia, which for some reason is controversial here. But perhaps most significantly in that O'Brien essay that he wrote in Foreign Affairs is a major shift in attention to the Pacific, to the Indo-Pacific, including deploying the entire U.S. Marine Corps there as it was in World War II, and a big naval focus, less focus on counterinsurgency, and a strategic delinkage with the Chinese economy.
And I gather, Christian, that you're being very humble because you did have a role in that article in the Robert O'Brien piece. So, Trump listens to you guys. The Middle East, as James was saying, he gave us the Abraham Accords, etc. Is there, that's a major focus for Trump, isn't it, if he gets back in?
I think it would have to be. Everyone would love to move beyond the Middle East and focus on bigger threats. I think the United States and Australia are probably more concerned about China. We'd love to focus attention there, but the Middle East always seems to pop back up. He's going to inherit a very bad situation. Iran is just 4 years farther down the road. It has a virtual nuclear weapons capability. It has the advanced uranium centrifuges. A uranium bomb is particularly scary because you don't have to master implosion or some of the precision timing and neutron initiation. The bomb we dropped on Hiroshima, uranium bomb, we didn't even test it before. We were so certain it would work. The bomb that was tested before was actually a plutonium bomb. So long story short, you have the potential of a nuclear breakout in the Middle East. And will countries like Saudi Arabia take the word of any administration, Republican or Democrat, that they are under the U.S. nuclear umbrella? Or will they want nuclear weapons themselves? So you have that situation. You have a situation where Iran is really feeling like it's pushing on an open door where it can, basically terrorize the Red Sea through its Houthi proxy army. It's at war with Israel, with Hamas, and also with Hezbollah. So Donald Trump did turn this situation around before, again, using sort of a military show of force, but he's going to inherit a very different situation that's more dangerous, and also a fiscal crisis in the United States where we spend $7 trillion every year despite the lack of a national emergency, and $2 trillion of that is borrowed up to about 100% of GDP on debt. So I think you'd see a much stronger resolve in the Middle East, but not necessarily a quick switcheroo.